Whoa. Hey, everybody. We're opening up dead center of the range from the overnight, right at VWAP, just below it. So let's see what happens with the levels for the day. Overnight session really respected these levels. This overnight high here. This overnight low was created earlier this morning, but that level, if I go over to this chart here, you can see that 8250 right there. That's an older, longer term structure level. So it was anticipated that something came into it, and there was some consolidation there yesterday. We tried to wick it a few times. So come back down to there. That's going to be an area of interest up to 2068, another longer term level that was respected quite a bit last night. So let's see what happens around those zones. It's Friday. Be patient. Allow these things to come to you. Make some money, and we will move on to the weekend. So hopefully everybody has a good day today. I know I will. If you're on the YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, all that fun stuff so you know when we go live. This is the... I took a overnight couple ideas, went up and down, so that's why that's red. We'll go here, and now we're live. 2 minutes till open here. Let's see what happens at this overnight high. Like I said, 68 is the key level for me. You can see the reaction around 68 quite a bit. This overnight high here will be the one that I decide if I want to try and take longs through it for continuation through for this post FOMC rate decision capitulatory top. I did think that potentially we do come towards all-time highs before selling off quite drastically, but we don't have to get all the way to all-time highs, so this could be an area for that fade to happen. We know that Fridays tend to trend. I have Financial Juice up. They're just rocking and rolling. You'll hear them talking in the background here and there. Fund spend rate 4.83%, 7 versus 5.33%. I believe it seems that they're pricing in a Fed rate of 3.25 to 3.5, and we're currently at 4.83 according to this. So that's a decent ways away, and a whole nother point. All right, we are now open. Let's see what happens with this. You know what? I'm going to throw it. Yes, over here. You can see ES has stayed in this range as well. I mean, this is from a few days ago or yesterday. Let's see. $1,700. There was a difference here because our 1,700 and the NQ popped up, sold. Let's get rid of this, even though it seems interesting. I'm not even looking at our charts right now because it's not even worth it. So let's see. Didn't do my S&P levels, so give me a second. Not a very difficult task to do my levels. Hello. Thank you, babe. Find a headband for him. Like one of those baseball ones. Very strong push up there from the opening range, right? This opening range pop. I like longs through 68, so this is interesting here. I'm not going to take this short right off the jump. It could short from there. It's very possible, but not that I'm going to trust it right away. Nvidia sold off from 117. Microsoft still pushing up towards 439, the pre-market high. Well, boy, that was a nice little reaction there, huh? 30 points right off that overnight high. So if you sold it immediately, you're good to go. But yeah, that wasn't going to happen for me there, especially on a Friday. There's your opening range. Back to the middle here. That's the trade right there. Short off overnight highs down to VWAP. Yeah, that didn't stay for some reason. S&P's given us a little bit of a wedging type pattern here at these lows, which is the overnight low. For some reason, my overnight low is up there. I just threw it up there. Or is that? No, yeah, that's yesterday. Okay. Could lead to some strength in the S&P, in the NQ, with S&Ps being on the lows here. If it can crack this wedge and start to rotate up towards the overnight highs. Nvidia just cracked up. I would like to take a long through this level here. Something about this tells me longs. That's why I have that there. Taking one shot at it with a mini, and then I'm going to, depending on how that trade goes, either switch to a micro or let the mini run. Holding that 1 minute opening range. Nvidia is straight up. Microsoft pulling back. If I start to see S&Ps crack up, I would anticipate this NQ to keep going. And through there, I have 178 as upside, 94, so 100. See if it holds this. Nvidia still going straight up. Microsoft going down. So we have a divergence there as far as that's concerned. If Microsoft catches a bounce while Nvidia is pushing straight up, then I would expect a pop. If we get a failure of Nvidia at 118.69, then the failure and the rotation with Microsoft to the downside makes sense. So I would be quick if this does get triggered to snap it to even, and then I'm going to see if it'll get up over 80 and squeeze a bit, maybe up to 100. Quick 20 points there, maybe beyond. Holding this level currently. Nvidia pulled back. Microsoft finding a little support. Through 68 makes sense. Probably could have front ran this to the high side, but I'm not going to trust it until it gives me that true breakout. If this seller gives up here, then you would anticipate this to be actually a good buy breakthrough. 65's getting bids. Do I see size on the book above? Not necessarily. There's decent size like all the way up, so maybe it just fills. And then if I get a true break and then I'm out, then I would just play the failed breakout, rotate the other direction. There's that snap. Come on up. Snap up. Oh, all right, we're out. Okay, that was great. Microsoft broke down, so give me another pop of it and I'll sell it. There's the break. Maybe one candle too soon on that. If it snaps this wedge here. Nah, it got to even really fast on that. You see this order flow right now? We're at a really big decision point there, so I got out of that. Let it get up a bit higher, and then I'll try it again. Write down the VWAP. This trade there works nicely. Failed breakout once again. Tried to flip my idea to playing breakouts, and I just allowed my bias to get the best of me there. Let's see if I could switch over to actually the micros. Switch over to micros. Go half size. Now I gotta adjust this. Gotta make sure everything lines up correctly here. Okay, we're good. All right. I would like a long off of 82 quarters. If we can get down to that overnight low. Unfortunate. If we can get up over this high, potentially through 68, we can get involved. I want to see what happens here. If we can get up over 68, then maybe this thing starts to run for us. I would like to buy 3 more up here. All right, we're pushing up. Looks pretty good, pretty strong. 68 still acting as that resistance. So let's see if it'll get through it. S&P is selling towards that opening, that overnight low. If it could hold it, then we could get a bounce. If we can't hold that overnight low, then we might want to get out of this quick. Nvidia catching a little bit of a bid here. Microsoft still holding higher prices, so we should still be okay for now. But if it starts to those start to sell through the lows, then we should get out of this. I'm giving it a chance. If it gets up over this level again, I'll get to even because it shouldn't come back down again. Dancing around with the middle. Got a good price. We should be okay to let it dance around a bit. If Friday is going to be a trend a day again. That 1 minute opening range trying to hold. S&P's trying to hold that overnight low. Okay. S&P's trying to break down, doing its best dance there. But Nvidia's still popping up, so this is still safe for now for me. Do I trust that that level is going to hold for Nvidia, for S&Ps? You see how much, what's going on here. There's tons of orders being executed. So whichever direction it does go, it should snap. Nvidia just snapped upside. Microsoft holding. This is the decision point here. I feel like we're in that wedge to like the tightest way we could possibly be. I'm getting out right now.
Order filled.
worse price, but I feel like it's more confirm. Gosh, silly use. I gotta get out of this. I just max lost myself just for trying to play with things. I feel like the micros lets me try things too much, and then I just keep doing it. I just draw myself down like crazy. All right, I'm switching to this 50K combine. Let's see what we can do here. Hearts on fire, crazy dreams. All right, where did these levels go? I love when my levels just disappear. Blue. That's why I don't diddle in the middle. Does not work for me. The normal trade idea worked out perfectly. Didn't take that idea, took the opposite of it because why not? And we ended up losing ourselves there. It's probably going to go 20 contracts filled at 48. You can see that 68 level still held there for the sellers. When it comes to this combine, I am a little bit more risky. I'm willing to take some shots at it, even though I did it with the XFA as well. Took a chance, failed it. Let's try it again.
Order filled.
If it snaps through this high, we could probably get to. Oh, okay. I have the wrong thing here.
Order filled.
Willing to take that back. Okay. Hearts on fire, crazy dreams. Look at this tight, 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 choppy range here for the early morning session. Microsoft wedging out a little bit. Nvidia's holding above 117.71. I do have interest in that popping to the high side. Microsoft though could sell off again. Let's see if we can get to the overnight lows. That would be probably the most ideal scenario here if we can get to the overnight lows and then fade the overnight low for the rotation back to highs. We've accumulated a ton of orders here already. So, you would think whichever direction it does go, it's going to be snappy, it's going to be quick. With downside moves, we held this support here at 22 right before the open, right? Hold that support, hold that support. That was like before midnight's low. So that could act as support as well. If we get through this low, I think we snap right to 22. There it goes. Could that be a manipulation though? Microsoft selling a little bit. Nvidia selling a little bit. Could that be a reaction to this breaching the low? I will take that chance. Oh, 5 minutes to 9, so we're going to hold off there. Just Harker speaking today. Nothing really, as far as news is concerned, that's going to whip the algos back and forth. Nvidia building strength around that 117.80 mark. If it does break to the downside, could go hard, but if it does keep accumulating, then Nvidia could rotate back up to 118.69 and beyond, up to 119. Microsoft is trying to hold this like just prior to pre-market, prior to market open support level, and it's a pretty strong support level from yesterday. So this is an interesting zone from 437.76 down to 437 even. Let this hourly close come in. Let's see what happens with it. Definitely not happy with that choppiness that stopped me out a couple times. Hopped over to the combine to get myself back in a groove, and then maybe I can catch something, build myself out a drawdown from the XFA. Again, been bouncing back and forth with this. I can't get my account below 1,047. What am I at now? 655. Oh, okay, we're safe. We good. Could snap down here now that, a couple minutes before 9. There's that snap from 30 to 22. And does 22 crack and break, or does it hold now as support the same way it did all pre-market right there? See if you get one of those wicks, and then you can play the bounce off of that. This is where buyer stepped in right before. Buyer stepped in pretty heavily. If the buyer gives up here, then you can expect a flush potentially down to that overnight low. If it holds, right, you rotate off of this level here, bounce play, resistance. If you watch it flush, retest, rotate, that's an idea. If you watch it wick, fail breakout type idea there. There's that wick. 2 minute. There's a heavy breakdown. That's the what you see. When the buyer gives up, that's when you start to see that snappy move to the downside. And then this could be a manipulation, right, for that rotate the other way type idea. So we'll see if that'll be a thing or not. See if the overnight lows come in, and then do we keep trending? Do we wick through to previous day lows? I would like to see that, a nice little pull back all the way down to previous day lows, find support there, and then rally through overnight lows, which is what I mean, honestly, I should have been waiting for the whole time. See if we can get a setup down here at the overnight lows. 81, 82s. Oh yeah, absolutely. 20,000 is always going to be psychological for sure. There's going to be tons of buying there. You can see like 5 or 10 points, give or take around that level. You're going to see that big size tens, 20s, and fives. You're starting to see people hitting the bid there. So just be mindful of that. We may not make the overnight low. It looks like we are. So let's see if we can give a good flush of it down to previous day lows. Maybe we can get that bounce from there. I don't know if we're going to get it or not. We'll see. Didn't make it there yet. S&P's got through the overnight low, almost to previous day lows. Front running that previous day low. So maybe that's what's happening with the NQ. If it's not going to get it, I will play that momentum break of that 22 level though. A rotation back above 20,000. Does it squeeze that? It does make sense, right? We're holding 20, holding 20. Snapping down through it. Going to be a lot of order flow here. Nvidia pushing down still. Microsoft seems like it's finding a little bit of a bid. There's Nvidia with a little bit of a bounce. Hopefully we can see some of this start to squeeze up if we can get this to rotate from here. Otherwise, I would like like the one last little pop over here, the flush of the overnight low, then you can get the long from that. That would be the best case scenario. A plus, push down into that 70s, and I can get long through 81s. All right, looks like we're pushing back up. Is it going to be a retest or is it going to be a continuation breakthrough this 22? I'm going to use this 22 level to my advantage. Nvidia is popping back over 117.72. Microsoft not catching a strong bid, so if it does start to pop, then we could see this thing start to run upside. Break retest. Nope. Still looks like it wants to get strong here through 20s. Lots of orders being executed right here, right now. Nvidia and Microsoft both at areas that could get bid up, which could help this to the high side. There's the pop. Stop filled in that one. I don't know how that didn't fill in this one. There's some difference in the price between platforms. Interesting. Very different. But good thing I didn't get filled. Yet. This looks like it wants to give up. This low here. Potentially. I put that entry very close, very top. So that one got out. This managing two accounts is tough. Not gonna lie to you. With these combines. Especially if you're tight with scalps. Price actually trying to make a higher low, and Delta looks like it's making a lower low. So let's see. I want more fills. Nope. Nvidia sold through 117. This did look like a wick down through that low to kind of grab that liquidity. And this will be that. Can that one get pulled out of the depths with a squeeze through the high? This is very much looking like a heaviness still in play here. Good. Break, retest, failure could continue on down to the downside as far as through the overnight lows and beyond. If 20,000 holds, then watch for that higher low to rotate us back up. That's really all that you can see here with this kind of information that we have coming in. As I said, that 22 level was very respected all night long. All night long. Respect, 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 and respected here. So if it's going to respect it on the resistance side, if it gives up, right? It gave up here before as the buyers gave up and it sold off. If the seller starts to give up, then you get the same kind of snappy move to the upside potentially for that to go. Still seems like that seller is involved though. There's a high volume node up at 20,050 because all of that volume that got executed there, if we can get through, I think we can snap into VWAP, through VWAP, and beyond up to 20,050 ish. I'm going to risk just below here. I like the accumulation here, but I also don't like it for the heaviness. Let's see if we trap this. Watching Microsoft and NVIDIA pretty closely, seeing if there's any sort of indication of them leading us in the direction. Doesn't seem like it. And, this selling is not happening on large volume, so I don't really trust it currently. It could just continue down. If it snaps through overnight lows, it could give you an even bigger snap to the downside, right? A quick snap to previous day lows. Microsoft is starting to get heavy, so maybe we do that. We stop sell one, and then we just get to even quick on it and try and take that take that profit at previous day lows. Or it's no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go long through the lows. That buyer stepped up again right there. S&P is still holding 57.48. Not a lot of volume down here. Just snapped off my volume node. See if it snaps this and goes deeper.
Order filled. Order filled.
I got out of that quick because I didn't want to take it any further than that, but I do want to buy this on a failed breakdown if it's gonna fail. The only problem here is Microsoft's kind of heavy, but I think it could turn if I'm playing my normal fade that level idea.
Order filled.
Going to do true risk management with this combine as far as stops are concerned. Let that bottom be held if I can. If it gets back above it again, I'll add a second. S&P is still relatively heavy. That's my only issue here.
Stop fill.
And let's see if it keeps going or not. I didn't add a second. I'm leaving it alone right now because it's not like going quick. I'm going to try and do this risk management here where I'm leaving it alone for a bit. All right. You know, normally I'm pretty quick to get my stop to even, get that. I'm working this, especially on this combine here, to see if I could let that dance around some. Breaches this high, maybe makes sense to go one on and then take one off at 20K. You know what I mean? Like if we break this.
Order filled.
There's that. Take one off at 20. No, I'm going to leave it on. I'll take one off at this level here. Limit sell right there. 20,008. Well, the idea was to take one off at 20,000, and I didn't do that idea. So let's see if it continues on. Trying to get greedy. Try to just allow this to do its little dance here. Let me get rid of that. Down 3. I don't trust the heaviness.
Order filled.
And that count's done. All right, good. All night long. Willing to take it again here. Momentum's to the downside, and I'm trying to fight it a little bit. 82 is my level, so I like to mess with it. I like to play with it. If we can get some momentum here, crack, sell. S&P's trying to hold that previous day low, which is helpful. All right, let it dance.
Order filled.
So we're in two. We're in long. It shouldn't come back to my stop. So I'm at even. I want to see how far I can let it go. I want to see if I can get one off at that 20,021 level. Just trying to be patient with this. If it comes down through 20,000 again, I'll probably sell one off. But I feel like this is that buy that overnight low, rotate it back to VWAP at least, and then see how far beyond that we can go. If I sell below 20,000, I don't want it. I just want to see what happens at that level. If it holds at 20,000. Crazy, huh? Crazy. This was me really trying to work an idea, right? Up 800 on that trade. So this is really working an idea, seeing if it's going to play out. Doesn't seem like it's going to. So if you get that stop sell through the low, take a buy here. Let's see if I can get that to play out. That stopped me out at even. Craziness. This is why I'm not the best on the long side, but didn't secure any profits on that. Working on this, especially on this combine, to see how I can get this to do the things that I want it to do. Maybe working on some different types of strategies. Looks like S&P's is squeezing a little bit. I'm gonna buy this. Yeah, the heaviness is still there.
Order filled.
That really stopped me out by a tick. If it's gonna rotate, I'll be annoyed.
Order filled.
Crazy at this level.
Order filled.
I'm gonna keep flipping this around. It's probably gonna get me screwed, but
Order filled.
finally, Jesus Christ. At least I got some of it back. It doesn't want to get through that level. 21s. If it squeezes through that 22s, then you could get some more continuation to the long side. If it's going to stay rotational here, at least we secured half of that win. Based on the way that last candle played, I'm going to see if this is going to flush us now. So we're going to get out of that. I'm totally fine getting half of my position back. Make the next trade. Could have secured one at the top, but still looks like it wants to get rotational again. Holding 20,000, holding 20,000. Lots of orders being executed here. Large size anywhere, nothing crazy. Just bids stacking up. It feels like there's buyers stacking up at 20,000 for this to go continue on. Still like the longs through the 22s. That's why I held it there. Because I think if that gives up, it squeezes. This would be 20,000 again. Should we hold 20,000 over 20,010? Give myself another opportunity there. Still, everything seems pretty just grindy to the downside. So there's the push to 20,000 again. Lots of volume being executed at 20,000. This is a very psychological level. I'm going to give it a shot
Filled.
on that last hold of 20. Watching 20,000, see if it snaps. Just watching the snap at 20 again. Does it hold? Does it break? I'm willing to risk this full risk on that because if 20,000 holds, then it's going to run very quickly to the high side. It's heavy through 20,000. I'm not taking that. That's fine. Good on that to be out there. Still heavy, right? You can see the sellers, larger size of the sellers through 20,000. If I can see level 2 start stacking up some green, then we can maybe get some long ideas. Does the third touch of the overnight low give you the actual breakdown, though? That's the question as well. Looks like it, right? Well, since it's been rotational, we could try along here with the idea that it's going to be rotational again. That's just the idea here. The probabilities. Or is the third touch, like I said, the heaviest one? '82s have been my levels of choice. Kind of snappy. '81 quarters. That's heavy. That's snappy. Stop by one there if it's going to go. Get rid of these. Get rid of that. '65s. All right. I believe you, Charlie. I'm going to let this play and then I'll see if I can catch that. If this stops me out. Heavy, 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 heavy. If it's not going to follow through, it should pop.
Order filled.
Willing to try it. And there it goes.
Order
There it goes. Snap down. What a day. For me, over trading, obviously. Trying ideas on the combine. This was the trade right here, right? These two should have netted me enough to be well in the green today. Microsoft at support. Um, Nvidia also at pre-market lows. I mean support levels, like pre-market right before market open. So this could lead to that sweep flush of the low, and then now give you that good opportunity to the long side.
Order filled.
If it does continue on through, I will keep trying it until I have nothing left in this account and try it again.
Order filled.
I like this as the sweep of the low, overnight low. Microsoft was at support, Nvidia was at support. So if this is going to bounce, it should bounce. Now, if not, it's going to continue lower, and I'm going to be stopped for the day. Trying to see if these ideas, like I said, will play out a little bit better for me in the future, right? Clearly, today is more of a chop day for me. Could have been a much better day with these entries, and been I was in the green there, and then in the green there, and both times this time I didn't pull it. I only took half of the profits on it, and then this one I could have took some, and I didn't take any, and it got stopped at even. Like those are fine, but like especially if you're working on some stuff, maybe it's not fine to work on things while you're not in good graces with your account, I guess. But still fine. All right, so if this does come back, I'll take the stop out. Once again, still trying to do the longer hold idea. There's the squeeze through 20,000. Does 20,000 hold or not? Come on, 20,000. Get bid. Learning to hold. My greater thesis is what I'm trying to do here. Here's that little wedge pattern as well that's forming on the top end. So if we can break that, that'd be great. That should lead to some squeeze action. Come on, squeeze. This is where I like the squeeze play. Does it go now or not? It feels like there's a snappy move to the upside if it's going to keep going. Let's see. If not, we're going to get trailed below that candle there. Like I said, it's been rotational before. Let's see if we can get one off there, and then I'll let the rest of it ride. All right, so I'm gonna do the I'm not coming back below 20,000 thing because that was the issue before. So if this doesn't hold, I'm gonna take that much. Come on, S&Ps, get through that 57, 59, and give me some strength here. I don't want to come back to 20,000. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't feel like it wants to hold. Although, if we stayed below this level here, you'd probably be safe at that stop. Take one contract off at this retest. I have to, but I'm holding it for that 20,000. Being patient with it. Be patient, be patient, be patient. Let something work one time.
Order filled.
There you go. 25 micros. Good job. So back down below 20,000 leads to another rotation. We just never got that top off. Should we snap through here again? We'll try it again. $20,000 failed again. There's that snap back down again. Do we flush the low? Does it keep going? What happens here? NQ relatively weak, right? Compared to the other. I'll buy it again. Let's just make this a thing. Should I get filled? I will get to even. Does feel like it's gonna get a little heavy there. bit there. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Nope, I don't like the heaviness. Nvidia is gonna sell through here.
Order filled.
Very tight pattern here. One of these will break. This S&Ps is just not helping out. Nvidia is selling downside a bit. Microsoft's holding up just a touch. Should this hold again, right? Higher low, lower low, sweep of the lows. Microsoft has completely flattened out. Nvidia looking like it wants to tilt its head downside, so some of that downside momentum still coming. Sorry, it's a Friday. I'm doing a bit much. I like the heaviness there.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
I'm just quick to get out of those.
Order filled.
The immediate return back that direction, I want that to go, but I'm just so quick to. Ah, oh, god damn. So dumb. Just leave my things alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. The ideas are right when they're right. Don't mess with them. sloppy week for me. This is just me overtrading a little bit. These ideas were correct. This idea was the right move there. Would have been able to get off that one contract and keep it going. Just on the heaviness of some of the other names. NVIDIA is still just kind of holding on its lows. Microsoft as well hasn't quite caught a bounce. Kind of just bleeding off. But if it does start to catch a bid, like I said, this should give you a little bit of a squeeze back towards VWAP. This 82 level is key for me as far as a longer term level. So if we do start to hold, which we tried to do once, twice, 3 times, 1, 2, 3, if this is the time here, then it could go, right?
Order filled.
All right, we're in again. Microsoft flat. NVIDIA tried to bounce. Microsoft gave you one tick up, 435.72. Trying to hold 435.17 is the major structure level for Microsoft. Looks like it's rotating back that direction. NVIDIA also just holding the lows. Weakness is still here. Fighting it for this combine. Like I said, overtrading it, but it is a combine, so I am just trying different attempts at this. I do over leverage my combine a bit. This is why I don't have my XFAs all in order at the moment. Let's see, give it a time. It's going to give up at some point. When will that be? So that first idea there with that breakdown would have been able to secure at least one off, and then we would be not in a bit more of a drawdown piece. Should this recover and break back above here, I would like it to recover. We do have to that level there as well. This is going to be a white line. S&P's has to break through that 57, 59. NVIDIA right at pre-market lows. And it just flushed pre-market lows, so that continuation to the downside makes sense. So NVIDIA breaking through, nice and heavy. There you go. That could have been your leading indicator for that short if you were looking at it. I mean, I know I haven't been talking a ton today. Really have to figure some stuff out for myself. $9:52 here, Central Time. Hoping that everybody else is having a better day than me. S&P is still holding the previous day low, which is interesting. Is NASDAQ leading us downside, or is S&P going to hold us up? Will NVIDIA recover the pre-market lows? The pre-market lows of 116.63. I think at the end of the day, practice, do your best to recognize the market conditions. I had the right thought process on it. With these trades here, these are more of a working it. I mean, obviously I could have been up 1,000 here, 1,000 there. This is working on hold ideas, which, I'm bad at, because obviously that's what keeps happening. Every time I've tried to do things that are a little bit different, where I try to hold instead of trail my profits out and take my money, that's usually when I do worse, right? So that's what today is. You can see I had the right idea here, here, and here. And, trying to work that patience of what some of these other people are doing, where they say, okay, enter, you got your low of the day, whatever. And then let it ride back the other direction. I'm like I said, with some of the combines, I do work those ideas as when those come into play, but obviously they do not work for me that great. So I got to just stick with what works for me and stop being influenced, obviously. All right, 5 minutes till the hourly close. Let's see what happens with this price action here. The real downside to today was my normal strategy. I was gonna take. I mean, for some reason, I just say, okay, let me do a long today instead of actually playing my normal strategy. Right, my normal strategy: fade the overnight high when we open at the highs. We've opened. We ran right to it, wicked it, and then immediately. I mean, like on this one, the second touch of it, I'm not good at breakouts. I tried to break out, and obviously, it's not right. Right, the failure of the breakout is what I should have been playing there. I didn't do it. That's just on me, right? Like I didn't allow that to happen. So, you know, I'm very close to being, where I want to be. Every time you get good at certain things, you try and do something else to try and adjust it, and then you kind of mess up stuff. So the ability to kind of make adjustments is the key, obviously, but there's no need to adjust when that the idea actually works most of the time. Yeah, nothing works 100% of the time. Microsoft holding at 435.18. The Nvidia flush of the pre-market low is interesting. We did find support at the pre-market support from 2 days ago, so this could be an interesting area for it to bounce. Not quite all the way down at its lows, so potentially if it does recover 116.63, then maybe this does make that trap low for the longs to step back in. We saw the amount of accumulation at 20,000. That was very interesting as well. That's probably good for continuation to the downside, right? You saw highs yesterday, and then that snap down. It's been selling ever since that snap down. We stayed range bound, flushed it, rotate, and then trapped people short. I didn't personally enjoy that because like I said, my normal strategy is that I didn't take it, and I'm just more disappointed in that than anything else. Yeah, I think because Nvidia recovering back over once, trying to get to 116, you have to watch this though. Make sure that that's gonna hold, right? That's a good area for a retest short. Wait till that recovers, maybe. Didn't quite make it down to 926, so we could get down to 19,926 right here. A snap flush of 926, and then a rotate back up. I want to see this 2-6 flush. See if it pushes down or not. I would anticipate a snappy flush of this, which would tick us off that 926.75. If Nvidia recovers 116.63 though, then I would say not. But it's still holding below that 116, so we're still okay there. Microsoft. Ooh, Microsoft has that gap to fill. That's interesting. 434.62. So that could fulfill right here, which it looks like it wants to. 432.62. There it is. Snap a 26.75. I want to see a flush of it and then a bounce.
Order filled.
Lots of reaction around that level. 10 o'clock as well, obviously. No, Microsoft didn't fill the gap. It front ran that. This is actually more of what I wanted to see. So if we can get this up over that wick.
Order filled.
Oh, that filled me. I guess there was some spread there. There's not. I mean, there's logic to it, absolutely, just based on structure level breakdowns and whatnot. But this is just over trading at its. It seems like it just wanted to be heavy, realistically. 10:30, 10:30 in on Fridays tend to give you some bit of a bounce. That's another reason I'm kind of playing this now too, because it hit a key structure level for me to be able to just try and see if I could bounce it off of that, and then also just catch some sellers off guard. Just depends on where you have your levels. This is still heavy. We get stopped down on that. That'll be that. So if you see my 30-minute levels, it does make sense if you take a look at them. It is going level to level. It's finding support. This is the support here. Breaks that support, retests it, comes down to the next level. That's why I'm taking this long off of here. The level above, clear as day, 68s was where I wanted to find either longs or shorts. Wanted, for some reason, decided not to go short off of a key structure level for myself. So there is definitely reaction to levels. You just have to know where your levels are out. Now, this is what I use for 30-minute levels. That's a 1 minute chart, but those are 30-minute levels. They're longer term structure points that I use as a guide for myself. They're zones, right? So it's not just like a level; it's a zone, right? It's not going to be an exact price point, although price does. I use that general spot as the, let's see how far down or below it we're going to go. And then if we do rotate and hold like a strong support at that level or a strong resistance at that level, then I'll be able to kind of play my idea around it. That's why I'm just playing this idea. This isn't something I normally would be doing right now. I just wanted to see if it will play out, because I've avoided doing my bounce plays for some time now, and this is the time to try it because I'm in a bit of a drawdown point. So just trying to work on some of these longer term level structure breaks. This could just be a pause point for the further downside flush because Nvidia still has downside pressure. It's holding below that pre-market low. It's not really bouncing. It's giving you little flips and then sells off again. So could just sell off again through here. But that's just the thought there. Microsoft is holding though. Right into that spot where I'm average long into, which really I should be average long at the 26.75 level. So this is getting heavier than I'd like. I'm getting out of that. If it does go here, I will snap by it one more time. But I didn't want to take that chance of getting flushed based on the heaviness. But Nvidia found a bounce, found a support level, and Microsoft is sitting at that. So if it continues to flush, then it's going to keep going. But this is me trying a key structure level. Well, nobody ever knows if it will work, but you just manage your risk and you try your best at it and do your thing.
Order filled.
Oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and burn this account now. Crappy week for me. You can see this combine was actually doing well until today. Funded account up, had a good week. Then just today was another five. Like the losers are just killing me. If you have a personal account, depending on what brokerage you are, there's no such thing as like non-margin futures accounts. Everything is basically so it's different than the way you would consider margin in an equities account. So with futures, I'm trading on a combine futures funding company, so that's a different story also. But if you're talking about a personal capital account, if you got 30K in an account, you are allowed to trade X number of contracts per $1,000, right? So let's call it, I use AMP brokerage for my personal account. If I wanted to trade a NASDAQ contract, a full mini, it's $1,000 per mini contract that you can trade. So if you have 30K in your account, technically, if you really wanted to, you could trade 30 full minis. Would you? Absolutely not. But just note that it eats $1,000 worth of your 30K in margin. It's basically just holding it in good faith, and then it'll be cleared out. If that makes sense, Seismic. Yeah, transaction fees depend on the platform as well. With TopStep X, this is TopStep, so their fees, I'm going to show you here. They have $2.80 for fees. That's usually that's the lowest it's ever going to get. You're really looking at for a full micro, a full mini, a transaction, full round trip, probably $8, maybe a little less, depending on your brokerage. $4 and change, maybe, depending on the low end. And then, it really just depends on the fees. With this, with the TopStep X platform, they have their own platform. This is a futures funding company, right? I'm funded with them. The gold accounts are funded. This one that I'm drawing down big on is my combine that I was messing with orders with. Obviously, I drew it down some, but overall, this combine, as when you go to here, you have a choice of different platforms you can use. If you use their platform, they don't charge you any commissions, so you're straight just fee based. And for a full mini, it's $2.80. So that's a really unbeatable price when it comes down to it. This is just going to be that last YOLO before this account gets burnt, but it looks like it's a good idea if it gets back above it. The fee structure is really just based on whatever brokerage you're in. So if you have 30K and you want to do futures in a personal account, I would recommend it. If you've never done futures before, I would kind of recommend first trying one of these funding companies, leveraging them, learning the nuances of each kind of contract, something that you're looking to trade, whether it be NASDAQ, S&P, everything has their own, so S&P's it's $12.50 per tick, while the NASDAQ is $5 per tick, right? You just got to learn the nuance between the different, contracts and all that. Learn expirations. If you want to trade oil or gold, you got to know what exchanges you want to use, because, with equities, the exchanges are all over the place, right? You can go through ARCA, you could go through all these other things. And then if you decide that, you need to route a different way, you can. When it comes to no, it's just how much they hold, right? So if you have a 30K account and you're in with one mini, technically you don't want your account to go below 29,000, right? That's when they'll liquidate you. You have to. So let's call it really simple, right? If you have $1,001 in your account, you realistically, technically, could trade one mini. As soon as you enter that mini, it'll liquidate because of that commission and fee on the front end, and then you don't have $1,000 worth of margin to hold that position, right? Does that make sense? All the margin is like a good faith credit, right? All right, you have $1,000. We're going to pull that from your equity until your trade is complete, and then we're going to put that back into your equity. It's almost like a pawn shop. I hold my ring. I'm going to make this trade, and when I get out of the trade, then they'll give you the ring back, right? And then if you lose all your money, then you lose all your money. That's on you. I'm very disappointed, personally, because my normal A+ strategy happens, and I decided that I got a different bias today, that if we got over 68, we'd start to run, continued on. I have fought my good analysis for too long. Everything that I kind of talk about here, we try to fade breakouts. That's my go-to. That's usually when I'm doing that on a consistent basis. That's netting me, you know, the days of just consistent 70-80% win, like high 70% win rate, because breakouts fail that amount of time. And I'm not looking to catch this entire move. Obviously, I wouldn't have been able to catch this whole thing, but to see this playing out off of a key structure level that I had, right? If I go over to my NASDAQ longer term chart for you, looking at this chart here, that level, did I go over to that chart? Give me a second. Yeah, that key level right there, that's 68. Obviously, we failed to break it. You're going to try and rotate down to that next key structure level, which we did. Once we finally gave up that last time, you rotate straight down into the key structure. Now you find that structure as support. We played that bounce play 2-3 times, and we were up. This is obviously the plays were right. I was working on something that I realistically don't ever do, right? I usually trail that out, and if I catch more of it, I catch more of it, but I never trailed it on these moves, up $1,000 on both of these. So for this account to be, where it is silly. But then you get that break flush, you pause at that one structure level, now you're down towards the next one. So we're just seeking liquidity. Where is the next bit of liquidity? Basically right where we're at right now. So, down to 19,841, could find support here at 19,870. So that's where we're at right now. We're in between that structure zone. Could chop around here too, because that's where we've had support in the past, and that's been some chop in the past. So that's just something to note as far as what I look for in my analysis is and all that fun stuff. Today, this week, traded like shit. Last week, traded good. It just is what it is. Sometimes this account I've been just up and down with. Today could have easily been a winning day. Yesterday was messy. And then trading Monday, I got stopped on a couple pretty good ideas. They just weren't there. So, yeah, there's no real slowing down right now. I think that there's downside pressure. NVIDIA broke down. Here you can see NVIDIA breaking down. I don't really look at SPYs or Qs because I'm trading the futures, so they're all very much the same. But, yeah, key levels, not really slowing down. NVIDIA's really got much further to go. It could go even down to 115 even, where we found some interesting support. The breakout point was 115.33. So, we're into 115.40s. Could get down into 115 even before a bounce. Microsoft did respect the bottom end of this channel here. Could rotate back up. If it does get back above 435.17, watch the top of this channel. Does it rotate and come back into VWAP? That's the question for Microsoft. But to the downside, Microsoft did give up 435.17, which could lead it down to 431.94. And that ties together with the Mag 7 names over here for the NQ. So that's what I look for. I'm going to go ahead and mess this account. Found support at 60, right? I was talking about that was anywhere between 40s. What did I say it was? Between 72 and 41, and we found support right pretty much in the middle at 60s. S&Ps, this blue zone is that FOMC rate decision candle. This is the entire candle that we're in. The high end of that candle is here, that 57.55. This 901 level, that 900 is where the NQ's candle was for that FOMC release. So we have now finally retested that. It took a while, right? That was all the way back here. We finally retested that since that break. So that was that break retest. I don't use indicators at all, really. I mean, there's volume and VWAP. That's it. I do use cumulative delta at times when I have my platforms out, but yeah, I'm very much just price action. Um, I'm looking for volume increases. I'm looking for volume nodes. I do use volume profile as well, but it's not on this platform. I don't like the way it looks on here, so I don't use it. But for the most part, the indicator thing for me is I use the Mag 7 names, Microsoft, NVIDIA. I use them, whoever's leading the day, and I try to use that to my advantage. I had like I said, I have all the ideas. The execution was just shit. That's just on me personally. If this holds above 901, the long could squeeze. There it goes. Microsoft trying to get back above 435, and NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA broke back above 115.97. So this possibly could lead to that squeeze. Retest 900, push back up. Normally, I'm pretty good. Today, I've just been battling myself on certain things. Like I said, trying to work on stuff instead of just taking my profits and moving on is good. Like I said, this is a combine. My fund account, I drew down and I stopped myself from trading it. But this is where I'm kind of just holding off and waiting. These executions were great. I think off of the bottoms, the trail that I normally do, I'm really a fast move, fast trail, very scalpy. I'm trying to work on some holds. That did not work out there, so I didn't end up taking the money that was offered to me. And normally that's kind of how I leads to my success and payouts in trading. I'll see another push towards 900, and then I can possibly get a bounce off of that. This account, like I said, doesn't have much left in it, so it probably gets stopped out on just the account itself. Downside pressure continuing. NVIDIA trying to pull back to 115.97, sitting right on top of 116.10. Microsoft ran right to 435, sold from it. If it does break back above 435.17, then the longs may take hold. That's where I like Microsoft for the long side. However, it's Friday. It's in a trend. It could just continue straight down. We do have Euro close here in about 8 minutes, so the Euro close could lead to some profit taking along the way. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that button, but I guess we're in. Okay. Be careful with your hotkeys. I'm going to get out because I didn't mean to be in that. Don't bump your hotkeys. I wanted it to get down to 900 before I decided to buy. Actually, let's do this. Whoops. I'm going to buy a micro and see what kind of movement we get out of it. And then as we start to progress, I'm going to start going through. That's great. Let's see how the power of these micros work out. If we pull back to 19,900, I want to add one. NVIDIA pulled back to 115.98, looking like it wants to hold. I like these flush outs for the rotation the other way. Where am I at? I want this candle to be right there. Yeah, today is triple witching, so it is kind of a confusing day as well. Should we break above this level? I would look to go longer. Euro close, 5 minutes. It's either going to be profit taking, manipulative price action, either rolls into other contract. There's going to be volatility for sure, increased volatility. It depends on the instruments, depends on what you're trading. Realistically, it kind of just, it increases volatility and just makes things a little bit weird. If that makes any sense. It's not like it's going to capitulate things into any sort of directionality or anything like that, but it doesn't mean, because it's OPEX we're gonna sell, or because it's OPEX I'm gonna buy up. But it just kind of increases the volatility, makes things a little funky because people are changing positioning. Same thing with rollover in the contracts. It's not a non-event. It's just something that you should avoid really trading, to be honest, if you don't have an idea of that it's occurring, right? If you have good key structure levels and stuff within the futures or something, it's not that important because rollover in futures is a little more important. We've pretty much completed our rollover. We're in the front contract. That was really where I was getting weird as far as the rollover is concerned. That's something that you got to note as well. If you are going to start trading futures, if you don't know what rollover is, got to start learning what that's about. Futures are contracts. They are made for future transactions, right? So this is what the price should be, in 3 months, because every equities contract that we trade, right? S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, they expire quarterly. I think oil expires monthly. Gold, I'm not sure. So you got to know which contracts have rollover when and how that's going to affect your instrument. Soybeans or whatever. You don't get to pick your expiration. You pick the contract. So right now you just combine two. EQ is not a symbol. ES is a symbol. /ES, /NQ. But what you would need to do is be in the NQ or ESZ. You see in the background of this right here, ESZ24. That would be your level. Let's see if I can pull up my Thinkorswim. I haven't opened it in a long time. You got to just know what that contract is for what the front contract is. If you go over to, I don't know if it's still in the alerts. I think it's gone. Let me pull it up here. CME Group, NQ volume. This is here. So this tells you which contracts have the most volume currently. Obviously, we're trading this December one now. We were in September. We rolled from September to December, right? This is where you would get a lot of that data. If you click that link, you can get all of the information about it. Go to the overview. And if you go to overview, they'll give you a roll analyzer, see if the roll is finished, how much each contract is worth, all that fun stuff. It's very useful information if you don't know a lot. Everything you need to know about pretty much every market you could need is in here, right? Corn, soybeans, crude, ES, NQ, ZN, all things that you need to know about. The information is in there so you can learn and grow your knowledge base on what you're trading, right? So that's what you really need to do, is do something like that, installing updates. Yeah, I did the migration. I just don't log into it. I don't have any money in it, really. I added one because I wanted to get back to 900. I'm building into a long position with micros. This is don't play this. This is purely based on my last ditch effort here on this. This could come all the way down to 74, even into 80s before deciding if it wants to turn around, or it could just trend the whole day. 30 minutes left in the stream for the week. Next week we'll have a better week. Overall, like I said, I'm not too concerned. Know what I'm doing here. Just got a little sloppy this week. Had some other things going on. Did a lot of overtime overnight, so haven't really had my full focus. So maybe that affects it. We'll see. Microsoft creeping back up. I do like the conversation, so that's one thing why. That's probably the only reason I stream. Because realistically, I'm not trying to give signals, nothing like that. I'm just here to help give levels out, give some confluence, teach a little bit, give some company, because, you got to learn to do this on your own. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to do it if you're just always relying on somebody else. So that's my goal here, is to try and be helpful, win, lose, or draw on my end. I know that a lot of people do their own thing and have our conversations in here, so it's good. If you've seen me long enough, you know that the strategy is, there's no reason. I mean, honestly, you can't actually follow a lot of people. If you are trying to follow people's entries, you're going to be late, especially in a stream, because it's at least a 6-second delay or more. And 6 seconds could be the difference between hammering into a position or out. I do plan my positions out, so you will know if I'm going to be getting in or not, or what I'm doing, and if it's going to be more of a position that's getting built, or if it's going to be my normal A plus fade the extreme strategy, right? It's just helpful to kind of hear some things, get some relative general ideas on it, and then you have to build your own strategy. That's the only way to learn, and it's the only way you're going to be able to do. Obviously, you can copy me, you can copy Deck, I can make you profitable as far as your ideas, but it still has to come down to you executing, you making the right choices, your psychology, your book, right? I taught in the boot camp, and I talk about trading your own book, but it's not just trading your own, like, how much money you have, but it's trading your own mental capital, how you trail, how you enter, how you exit, what's good for you, what's, everything that goes into that, not just what you're trading and how much you're making, right? There's so much more to that than trading is more than that. And it's very difficult for people to understand that that's kind of what it is. I don't know if that's the right login. Let's see. Maybe it's... Thank you. I appreciate it. I try to be different because everybody's the same, right? There's no reason to be the same as everybody. All right, so now this position's starting to work in our favor. You're getting a good move on it, right? The thought process behind it was good. The 926 level finally has held. You got a liquidated, extreme push to the downside on higher volume, and then that high volume push to the downside failed, right? You can see the increased volume on the selling pressure. Now you're stepping back up. Most of the time, 1030 euro close, you're starting to get profit taking. Good chance for a potential reversal for the day. Not saying that it's going to fully go through highs and to all-time highs, but if now you manage this position correctly, you should not lose, right? I shouldn't lose. If it does come back down, come back and fail this entire level. Yes, if I do give back some, it is what it is. But realistically, what I'm trying to do with this is give myself a chance to, find a bigger position, find some more, distance in this. I could possibly get this to go further. You got to watch S&Ps, see if the S&Ps will break back up through and get to VWAP. My normal fade of extreme is to VWAP, so that's my normal go-to there. I'm only trading this on micros, and that's a really good trade idea right there, right? Like being able to build into 2 micros. You can build it into 3 if you want or whatever. I didn't have that much drawdown left in this combine, so I was just trying to build a small position, see how far I could take it, see if I could get a full rotation, right? Yeah, still in it, still looking to see if we can get back above previous day lows. That's going to be a decision point as well, right? That red line is always previous day lows. So if we can get and hold above it, then that's a good chance that we can accept it back into yesterday's range is what I'm looking to see. If it doesn't, if we continue to, front run it and reject it, then maybe you get that full pullback and, S&Ps is rejecting that level. So S&Ps has kind of been leading us, but I want to see if they'll pop back up. Just kind of watching it. Give me a second. Sounds good to me. If that'll help me in this long idea, then that'll be great. Microsoft breaking above 435.50. If we can continue to squeeze up over 435.62, 63-ish, that's that area where I was interested before. It ran right into that resistance and then is pulled back towards that 435.17. So that's where we're going to need to get some help. We need some help with Microsoft continuing up. NVIDIA gave us a nice push up as well and then is pulling back now also. I would be interested to see if this holds and then I can either get out or not. Seems pretty good. S&Ps wants to try and pop that 57.48 potentially again. If we could do that and rotate towards VWAP, towards the yellow line, which is overnight highs. Could I add a contract at 927 and then pull my stop to tighter up? Right, because it shouldn't come back down below there. Microsoft looking like it's trying 435.55. If it can break 60, there it is. I'm going to add one here. Oop, I'm not going to add one. I'm going to add one. There we go. Based on Microsoft's break, if Microsoft fails to hold this level, then I will look to probably shed one. Added one based on Microsoft gaining the strength. That's really what I added that on the pullback and Microsoft adding strength. If S&Ps could get back above 57.48, should be safe to continue this up. Hopefully up to that red line. Maybe we could start to not trail it out, but I want to see if I can get some more squeeze move type movement up into that yellow line. All right, this shouldn't fail. So I'm at even now. At least if worst case scenario, if it does snap down, I'm not going to get fully stopped for a loss. It's the mitigated position size. Looks like S&Ps wants to get above 57.48. If we can squeeze this, that would be great. It would be very helpful. Microsoft still holding above 435.63. 63 is that point that I want to hold. 435.63, 435.64. If it holds that, we're still safe. NVIDIA is just dancing around on its lows, so I don't really trust NVIDIA to lead us. But if it does start to snap downside really hard, that would probably get stopped out on this. Just cover my fees there on that. This is just trying to work a position, right? This is not something I'm normally doing. So another thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do a bit better on adding to winners, because that's something that everybody always says the most profitable trading communities or trading traders are adding to their winners and trying to figure out how to add to a winner instead of shedding and taking things off at the levels where maybe ads would work. Knowing when ads are right, knowing when ads are not right. Microsoft just squeezed the high. There we go. Let's see if it's going to continue on. I have Microsoft catching a bid. I want Microsoft up to 436.50. There's that push right through that red line. You can see once you got the squeeze through that 57.48, you got that snap right to it in the NQ. So now if we do start to pull back off that line a ton, then you're going to just really not get follow through. But I want to see if it'll follow through that line, if it will squeeze it. If it does squeeze it, then I'll start to run my stop up into there. It's a really good trade. So far, so good. I've built into it, right? Added to the winner, which is nice for me. I'm not normally able to do such a thing. So this would have been nice to take on the XFA, but I'm still just working it. I'm trying to learn a little bit more about how my ads work. I like Microsoft still pushing. There's the push. Can we get a nice rotation? 82s. This is where that breakdown happened before. Does 82 come back and snap us up? If that's the case, I do like the momentum that we're starting to get here. I mean, realistically, I was risking to the low of the day. I'm still holding this, seeing how far I could take it. I mean, until Microsoft shows me a little bit of weakness, I'm going to hold the entire position. If Microsoft squeezes through 436.50, so this is really the key indicator to my... So when Seismic was asking about indicators, I'm using the equities. I'm using these names that are the heaviest weighted in the Mag 7, the heaviest weighted in the NQ to help me make these trades work in my favor, right? That's what I'm looking for. S&P's just got the view up, so this could be an area where things do start to slow down. If we come back down here, I'll sell... No, we're still okay. Stop sell 1. Take 1 off at that level because that's a good area for there to be just like, maybe a snappy move. Take that first contract off to be, secure myself $100 on that and let it go. And then I'll trail this 1 as far up as I possibly can. If I can get it off at, VWAP 20,000 is a nice area for interest. Microsoft's running into a little resistance, so could find some resistance here, although NQ could act on its own and continue this squeeze because it is so far behind. S&Ps just ran right through VWAP there, so usually if S&Ps can run through VWAP, NQ can get there. I think we're starting to catch a nice bid here. Can we squeeze it? Can we squeeze it? Can we get back up to that 20,017? Can't be mad at this trade here, right? Would have liked this to be in the minis, but I drew myself down enough where I couldn't let this be a mini. To catch $350, $400 on a couple micros, that's not too bad. I'm watching this VWAP. If this VWAP fails, I'm going to try and take 1 off. But Microsoft's still showing strength, so I'm still good. Still good to hold. NVIDIA did run into the resistance of 116.63, so that's just an area where I think it could go. I just want to see if it'll hold it. Where does this close? Nope, still good. Microsoft still good. NVIDIA still holding above. Not selling off drastically from that high. Just still stepped into it. Is that good or bad for the long? For more upside, good. I'm gonna take one off here when it comes back below this red line, and then I will hold the rest of that.
Order filled.
All right. So we secured about $100 there ish. If we come deeper, maybe we potentially try to add on to it. This is what led to that, right? The failure of that VWAP. Never quite made it to VWAP there. Microsoft pulling back from 436.50. Boy, my equities levels are pretty on point right there, 436.50. So we are doing pretty good. Interesting. I like the idea, Seismic. A break above overnight lows is very strong for this to continue on. We'll have to watch the opening range. This is that 1 minute opening range here, that blue box above. So I'm going to be watching that for an interesting level. Will we go red to green on the day? If it does break into that level, does that make sense? So we made money on the trade as far as this trade is concerned. See how much more you can pull out of this, for you to kind of think through something like this where you're building into a position and then trying to scale out of it. Where are you going to look to start scaling out, right? I took one off on a small pullback there. Could have maybe even added one on a pullback, finding that support. But realistically, I used this pullback from VWAP as I'll take one off just in case it keeps coming back, because before we got a lot of that, as soon as we got to a level, pullback, stop us out at even. So learn your lesson from that. Take some of your profit off. Start to build back into it if you want to. It probably allows for a bigger gain on the day. It doesn't feel like it. Right? You're like, if I would have held my entire position, I would have made this, this, and this. But can't think that way. You got to just think, how do you just maximize your profit on the trade that you're in? And then whatever happens to it, happens to it. You're going to have, rules in place that lead you to do certain things. And then you're going to have to go from there on your own. I want to get to that VWAP, but holding it. NVIDIA holding for now. Microsoft did give a little bit of a pullback into not real structure. It could come back to 435.60 before having a bounce. But it could bounce from here as well, which would be great. I almost want to add on the snap break of this and then take that contract off at VWAP. right? Wick, wick. If it comes back up here again, it shouldn't wick it. It should snap. I don't remember my login for. Oh, maybe I'll go. Maybe it's this. Nope, I don't remember it. Yeah, I mean the overnight lows are always usually decision points for me. If we can break it, retest it, keep going, or we can break and then come back up and start to squeeze back into that overnight range. We're in that overnight between the overnight low and the previous session low. So we're thinking, are we going to accept back into yesterday's values? Are we going to start to move that direction, or are we going to start to rotate down? Yeah, I don't know what the money flow thing is, but it sounds like a great thing because it's kind of coinciding with certain key structure areas. Nvidia possibly could sell through that level currently, which it looks like it's snapping down. There's Nvidia snapping down. If this is going to be a true breakdown, then I'm going to watch to see if I'm going to secure some profits or not. I want to watch this as well. 57.48 in the S&Ps. This is NQ is holding relatively strong compared to the way that the selling is pushing. So 435.60 is where I want to see Microsoft bounce from. If Nvidia can hold, right, it pretty much just snapped down into a key structure level of 115.97. If it's not going to hold, I'm going to take a little bit more off. We'll see. If this is going to fail to break this, then you would expect a quick rotation back up. Nvidia bounced. Let's see if this will hold. If this previous session holds in the S&Ps, then we should be fine here. With Nvidia holding 115.97. If we come back above this, I'll add one. I want to see Microsoft give me some sort of a bounce. Nvidia is starting to do it. S&P is still holding 57.48. I'm actually going to re-add that one back. Adding that one contract back. If it's, I'm quick with that to get it off. I want to see this hold. This is really the key to me entering that second one. If it does dip below this level here, this 57.46, then we should probably just get out of this whole position. And then I'll look to get more on again later. There's a push. Nice. Micro is really letting you do the ad game here. There's the squeeze. Very nice add. So I took that profit there and then I added it right back on. So at least I secured more. And then now I have that entire position on for the next leg, hopefully. And if we do come back down below here, I'll take the whole thing off. because really that's a pretty strong move. So if we come back down below that, I don't want to be in anymore. Secure myself, a couple $100 on that trade, which is good. Now I'm going to take the contract that I added on, I'm going to take it off at VWAP. Just structuring the trade idea. I could take it off here, but I think we could still squeeze through the overnight low. Like I said, I almost want to add another one through the high, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, you have to talk yourself through things. You have to understand what's going on. You have to have a plan in place before you're just like doing it, but also it has to like be quick. It's got to be there, especially if you're going to be scalping, if you're going to be adding, you're going to be taking things off. It's just kind of the way it has to go. I found a good key structure level here with 926. I did think that we were going to get a flush of it. I didn't think it was going to go that deep, but we did approach, this did make more sense to get into the FOMC data release number. We kind of cleaned up that entire overnight move that happened. Lots of really, nuanced behaviors here down at this level, and a reason why I wanted to try and at least give it a chance and execute on it. Technically, if I would have taken this on my XFA, I would be a lot more happy, but realistically I am satisfied with the trade management ideas here, doing a lot better with that. If this dips below here hard, I gotta watch this VWAP on the S&P. 57.56 is really that level that I want to see get tagged. Just want to see if this will snap. We have 2 minutes till 11. Usually, I'm not entering positions at 11, or I will manage my positions through the hourly close. But I like to be flat as far as like if I'm not entering. I have a rule that I don't enter 5 minutes before the hourly close, because usually we'll get some manipulation here. So this makes this part of the trade a little bit difficult, but it's also at the same time could help us out come 11 o'clock. We could get a snap right here, right into VWAP before it does decide to do whatever it's going to do for the hour. Because hourly close, do they want to close above the overnight low? Do they want to close below? There's very nuanced behavior in there. And there's decision making going on right into that hourly, or right before or right after that hourly candle close. So we have 1 minute till that hourly close. Does it hold above that overnight low, or does it hold below the overnight low, right? And if it does hold below the overnight low, is it going to hold below previous day's low? And that's really where my thought process comes in. Like, are we going to, if we do that on an hourly candle, is that where people who check out hourly, if they're swing trading or doing that stuff, they're position sizing or they're position trading, I should say, is that where they come in and say, okay, now it's time to sell out because we're at XYZ level, right? We closed at or below, or at or above, and now we're going to get out, right? So that's why I don't usually like to do anything at the hourly close. See what happens. We could get whipped out of this. It is what it is, but I'm going to let it stay below this previous day low because I want to see if they'll mess with that overnight low and VWAP. Microsoft selling a little bit. NVIDIA holding up just a bit stronger. There's 11 o'clock. Let's see if we get a snap up or snap down. Or if it just stays neutral. Right? Because we held that hourly close below overnight lows. So does that mean that sellers want to come in and keep it down there? Or is this new hourly candle going to start to explode through that key level and create a new hour of buying? Still above the previous day low in the S&Ps. Nvidia pulling back, Microsoft pulling back. Could get heavy here with the 11 o'clock hour closing below that overnight low. I'm still willing to hold it through that overnight low, that previous day low, because I think if it snaps that previous day low, even if it wicks us out and snaps us up, the likelihood of it rotating back down to lows, there's a chance, right? There's a chance for that. So that's why I have my stop there. If it comes there, it would like to maybe make a new low and snap down. So I want to see if we can get some buy-side momentum back into here. It doesn't feel like Nvidia or Microsoft want to get bid up yet, but let's see if they can. See if NQ can do its own thing, start to lead us to the upside, show some relative strength. Fridays I'm usually off early, but this is interesting, so I like to see it. Once I get out of this trade, stream will be over. It'll be done. I am going to try and hopefully be able to get off one contract at VWAP. If not, it's all good. We are trailed into profit. We made some of that garbage price action back for ourselves, which is nice. I did some silly things today on the combine. Could have been easily up a couple $100 or even past this by now. But, sometimes you just do some things on a day that you don't really normally do. So there's that squeeze over the overnight low. Let's see if it keeps going. Get through this high. There we go. If that's going to fail, then I don't want to be a part of it. But it looks like it wants to hold. Let's see what happens. I moved my stop to just below this wick so we can secure a little bit more of that profit back. I mean, I could even go all the way tight into 79 and take that one that I added off right here. If it wants to snap down, I'm going to take that one that I added off, but keep the bulk of the position on. Start to manage this position in a different type of way that I normally, how to shed out contracts at key structure levels. I think the average price is probably down here somewhere. So if I'm going to do it that way, I'm only going to trail out with single orders, single stops. Well, actually, should be right in front of 20,000. If price does get over 20,000, I would like to keep this full position, but I'm going to front run it because I feel like there might be some size on it. I would like to have at least one on through 20,000 if it can give it to me. Still holding below VWAP in the S&Ps. We need to get back above that VWAP. It's getting heavy. Getting a heaviness. Microsoft found its support. Nvidia is still trying to creep up. So this could give us that pop that we need. Nvidia pushing upside. Microsoft got to get above 436. Get that one off before 20,000. There's another break of that high of that candle. It's an inside, potential. There's a magnet at 20,000. Tons of offers there, so price should pull up to 20,000. I'm going to front run it, take one off at 20, and then see where the rest of this position takes us. Hopefully we can get that one off. Like I said, there's a chance that we wick below where we're at, then snap up, but I have that order here for protection, for taking one of those contracts off, and then maybe they're front running 20K, and I don't want to not at least take something off because I added that one on and then I took it off, right? So we've taken back $200 ish. Slightly concerned with this now. I want it maybe up here since I took that one off. And I'm going to trail the whole position to that point if I can get up above it. Still going, still holding over that overnight low. I still need S&Ps to play along to the high side. This is wedged out, which I don't like. Usually the wedging pattern at a high level or a key structure level leads me um, to some sellers, like a hard, snappy seller. I always think it's going to dump. I'm a heavy short seller. I really enjoy shorts. So this is telling me right now that this is where I like price to get short, but I'm trying to my best to work on maybe having a different psychology when it comes to just watching some of these other names, allowing it to play a little bit. I've already secured, a couple $100 on this by working a position, right? I took one off here, I added it here, I took it back off here. So I'm securing money on a pullback, adding back to it on another pullback. So, trying to work this as that plays so that when I do get dumped on, that I've already took some money out of it and just hope for the best as far as getting in and out. And this is going to be my longer hold idea strategy moving forward. This is where I get to that. Secure my last little 100 and then see where it goes. Theoretically, I could hold this position until I get to, yeah, negative. I can only get down to 49,522. I drew this down pretty good early, so I've had this up all up a lot higher. So I was up 1,500 on the account, and now I'm down 1,017, 1,700. So there's that VWAP. That 20,000 number, it got wicked and then sold a little bit, but nothing like really aggressive. So I would expect an aggressive buy through it, hopefully. Or do I still stick with this? Like you can see how tight this wedge is. It's probably going to give you that snap down. That's my go-to. I have an idea with this. We'll take off the one. I still want to try and leave that one on. Nvidia right at resistance. Microsoft making an attempt at a high again. 436.26. Could we get back above 436.50? That could help our trade out. We'll see. Microsoft sold right down to 436 even. Nvidia at 116.63 could sell the rest of this off. This is where I like short ideas to play out. So maybe we get that next pop back up, and then that's when I'm going to really start to look for this thing to pick a direction. That's how it's going to have to be. S&Ps needs to get through that VWAP. Let's get moving. And Nvidia just broke back above 116.63. Microsoft pushing back up through 436 quarters. So we have Microsoft up at 436 quarters. It's trying to sell it from there. Nvidia also trying to sell from there. So it's building. It's either going to snap one way or the other. I'm hoping for a long, obviously, since I'm in long, but could manipulate downside like we did here, like a downside manipulation, where I would maybe even look to get a pullback into previous day lows if I could add a contract there. Just mess with this key position. We were in long from this long here from 19,900. I've added on the way up, added one here, took one off at the red line, added one back at the red line, took one off at the yellow line. Now we'll see what happens. It's hard to say. Sometimes I like to go with the bodies of the candles, right? Tighten the bodies. That's good. If we go just in that range there, it still feels like it's going to snap us down. This is usually what I look for, that tightening wedge pattern at a key structure level on the way back up. Still technically in a downtrend, so overall, realistically, you're seeing this as a good area for there to be some reaction. 20,000. I don't know if they got filled, all of them, but there's definitely orders above 20K. So decent size on the books at 20K. See if we can get through 20K. If it's going to magnetize us there and then just snap us out, and we're going to start to rally even more. I want to take that one there. Maybe I'll take that one there, and if we pull back to VWAP, I'll add it back on. Going to work these ads. Secure some profit, add some on. Secure some profit, add some on. That's the goal here. try and shed for cash flow. When I was trading with T3 on the prop end, that was kind of the idea: is build a big base position, take off half at break even. I mean, at a 1-to-1, so that your full risk is only a break even trade, so you could still leave your stop low, and then start to add and subtract position, entries as you go up with your core position still intact. And that's the goal. Try and build some sort of semblance of that strategy on like a longer time frame. My scalps are still going to be my scalps. I still like those setups, and this is kind of one of them here. But to try and have one of those position trade ideas is really what I like to have in the book. $436.50 is holding for Microsoft, so this could be an area where the sellers snap down real quick and then we get bid back up after a little manipulation through the low. But if it still holds, it's valid. Look at how tight the S&Ps are. Yeah, very, very tight. I would say a drop is more likely, but I'm in long, so I would hope for the top side to pop out. Yeah, like I said, I'm cool with what I've got already on this trade. That's why I'm still just trying to let things kind of marinate. Yeah, I don't know what any of those indicators signify, so that's why I don't comment. But it sounds like it's a good thing. I'd have to look into it. No, yeah, no, you're good. Like I like I like to talk about it. I got to look into it. I got to see what it is. Like I said, I don't use any real indicators. Cumulative delta I use because it is very directly correlated to buyers and sellers in the futures. It's very good to use as far as it basically just shows you aggressive buyers and sellers on the bid or ask, which is the same as watching the time and sales. So it's really what I'm doing here is watching time and sales, watching. There is buyers here stepping in at 85, 86, 81. So the buyers are still stepping in at the 80s, and 80s is a key structure level for me. So I do like that to hold, right? You saw it here, hold, rally. Now that we've tried to accept back above it, do we hold it and continue to just push on to the upside? I was considering adding again at that overnight low after taking that one off, but I decided against it. This is where these squeezy guys come into play. Let's see if we can squeeze through 20K. Get through that. If it can get through this top end here, we could get a snap up to the yellow line in the S&Ps, which should give us a nice little breakthrough 20K in the NQ. This is the decision point here. 20,000 is the decision point. Yep. It just, I mean, there's a seller sitting in front of 20,000. They don't want to let 20,000 get filled. So if they do, is that going to just snap us out, or can, this is people front running a key structure level. That's what this looks like. That's what front running a key level looks like. When you have VWAP, you have 20,000, you have people on the bid at 100 plus contracts, sitting there waiting on the ice. That means there's other people in wings waiting to kind of just hit. I mean, front running by, they see that there's 100 and something contracts sitting on the ask at 20,000, just waiting to get filled. So they think that they're trying to get filled short. So all these people are trying to get their orders in before that 20,000 level, because if that 20,000 gets filled, they're going to get actually paid on it, right? So they're trying to get filled in front of the bigger buyers who are trying to buy at a major key structure level. So they're front running it, is what I'll call it. Not front running as in the illegal activity of finding orders and then placing your order in front of that. That's a different illegal activity. This is more of the terminology of just being in front of a key structure level that has the size on it. And it looks like it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. It's going to manipulate out in one direction or the other. Which way does it go? That's why you have to have, a plan for different times of day. Midday, slow, choppy, grindy markets is more of a position move. The scalps happen early and during power hour for me. There goes the 57, 56 level. So now we should squeeze through 20,000 if we're going to get there. There we go. Snapping through. Good. See if it's going to hold or if it's going to continue down. I'm going to use VWAP as that out for this trail, for this single contract, because I think that 20,000 should hold. So if it doesn't, then it gets broken. So there it is. I'm going to take that one off there, and then I'll leave this runner on. If this keeps going, then it's going to be good. I'll be happy with that. Shouldn't get back to 20,000. There's a ton of orders just stacking up on the ask, so there's so much to be filled above that we may start to squeeze out a little bit now that we're over 20,000. Now that the 20,000 pressure valve has been released, you don't want that to come rotate back down now on you, because then that's when you start to lose that momentum that you would have had on a breakout, right? If it's going to come back down below 20, you would expect it to kind of rotate hard and start to come back all the way the other direction. Maybe a bigger player trapped some longs, and then now it wants to stop people out down at the overnight low. That's why I would take it out at 19,099. I don't see 20,000 has some on the bid, but this is really the MNQs and a lot of the reactions happening on the NQ. I like the squeeze idea. I'm taking this off. I don't want that there. One on this spot right here. Patience, patience, patience. Letting this one run a little bit. I cash flowed it a little bit. I took, $200 off the table, just about, by adding and subtracting and then adding and then taking it back off again. So now we're up another 2. So, could secure ourselves pretty good battle. This is using those longer term levels that I showed you on that NQ chart. Hopefully you guys note those levels, the ideas behind them, try and figure them out for yourself, how that kind of idea works. S&Ps is now starting to squeeze through previous day lows. Overnight lows. So, maybe that entry, that exit right there is where I wanted to get. That's where I had that exit, but I think we could squeeze through that. The reason I'm not taking it off there is because if it gets through there, I think a snap to the blue box is the opening range should try to be had. So I don't want to take it off by risking just a little bit, leaving that stop sell there for that one and then leaving that one more contract on, because NVIDIA pulled back to 116.63 and could find support there. Microsoft right through 437, and it's pushing. So if Microsoft can hold 437.10, then we can still continue to rotate it back to hope maybe high of day for Microsoft. That'd be great. 439.31 would be my next upside target to the very high. So the power of micros really does work if you manage the position correctly. I drew down on minis and messing around with levels, messing around with different ideas, different attempts. I was down to $100 left in this account, and now I'm building it back up, a couple $100 at a time, just to be able to manage a position like this. This is definitely an encouraging way to end the week. Kind of just show the possibilities of just giving yourself good chances, leaving bullets in the gun. I would have liked to have taken this on my XFA, but I did not. It just is what it is. I'm working on strategies. Microsoft's still squeezing. This is why I didn't take it off there, because I want to see if it'll get through that. My real key level there is 22. Realistically, when it comes down to it, everybody gets mad and frustrated and emotional about trading. The only way you're going to be really successful, not everybody can be Deck. Deck is a different breed, right? He's going to get pumped. He's going to get you excited. He's a showman for sure, but he's good at what he does. But he could get crazy excited. I'm policing pips, right? I got to be a guy who does things in a very neutral way. Win, lose, draw, big win. I get excited if I get a really nice crushed, like, hell yeah, fucking the thing pumping down. I'll give you a little clap, a little fist pump. But at the end of the day, emotions need to stay pretty even across the board. Yeah, that's the only way this is going to work. And unfortunately, we're all probably in a position where we're not at that spot where we can totally detach from the dollar amount, right? We kind of want this money to be life changing, and it's hard to not see that potential, right? When you do things like this on a day to day basis, next time could it be a little bit bigger? Could it be a little bigger? Could it be a little bigger? And then detaching yourself from it is difficult. So when we get there, it's going to be so much more worth it. But at the same time, it takes more to get there because it's almost impossible to detach from the money. Everybody can say detach from it all you want, but it's so difficult, right? Because you have to enjoy the process a lot, because this is a very frustrating, time-consuming process, and people want to do it for freedom of time and stuff, but it does take time to do this and actually put that emotion and that effort in. So bad, Leezy. So bad, dude. Give me that squeezy. Squeezy for Leezy. It's not stupid because it really, yeah, we're accustomed as a culture to say, I worked for this many hours, I should make this much money. And that's not really how it works in the world of crushing it, right? It's not really hours related. It's so hard to price it out. Like, I always feel like I'm like that one step away. Like I've gotten to major key structure steps this year. I've happy with my progress, but at the same time, you're always that slight bit disappointed in, like, really, I should be doing this much better at this point in my career. I don't know if streaming helps or hurts, or but I think in the grand scheme of things, we're all just trying to avoid those dumb things, and then it's just It's I like it when the market squeezy faleezy. Absolutely, me too. Especially when I am in a long, which is very rare. I'm usually in shorts. Yeah, it's very difficult because you want to put this effort in, and it's gonna come in due time. Like when the time is there for it, it's coming. The money's coming. It's just when. When will it come? That 16 filled pretty decently on the contracts. I want to see if this will hold one more time. If we get back over 17, I'm gonna pop this trail to that, and I'm gonna see if it'll hold over 20. S&P is still looking strong. Microsoft giving a high base pattern at a key structure level of 437.50. So if we can squeeze over that, Nvidia is having a hard time holding 116.63. Nvidia has been the weaker of the names between Microsoft and Nvidia. Everything else, not that I don't discount it, but I really don't look at them until I realize that they're more correlated. Amazon's going straight up, good on us. Google is doing the grind. Meta also pushing up. Tesla rejecting a key structure level of 240. Microsoft and Nvidia have been the main drivers of this market for the direct correlation. So I really leave it up to those two for my directionality for the day. Does Apple play a role? It's the biggest, it's one of the highest market cap, if not the highest market cap. It fluctuates between Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft, but Apple's just been so disconnected from the direct correlation that I just completely discount it at this point. Something happened where Apple has disconnected totally and completely from it, and Nvidia and Apple for a long time were inversely correlated. So if money flowed out of Apple, it flowed into Nvidia, and then the opposite, right? If you saw Nvidia selling off, you saw Apple popping up. So it was very, very interesting the way that dynamic was working earlier this year. And so really, I've kind of eliminated Apple from my analysis. I'm trying to get off this stream, to be honest with you, but this position's still good, so I'm gonna still be here. Yeah, you gotta understand that that's how it works. Like things become correlated and then they disconnect and then they become correlated again and they disconnect. Like if you look at oil and the direct correlation between the Canadian dollar, it's very correlated, but sometimes it just completely disconnects and gets separated, and there's not a real rhyme or reason for it. You just have to notice it when it's coming in, right? Oil, gold, like things like that, stuff that's going to drive trade factors, the fundamental drivers of a lot of things. You'll see them correlate, uncorrelate, connect, disconnect, T-bonds or inverted yield curves or Nvidia and Microsoft, and Nvidia is selling from that point. I think I'm going to end up getting stopped here at VWAP. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to add where I thought I should take off. How about that? Instead of taking it off, I added. Let's see what we got here. I want to see if I could do something with this. There was that great ad at 20,000. So I'm building more of a position into this as we keep going up. We're holding this. Into the bodies there from that wick. That wick held. 568.50. What is that in the NQ? S&P's high of day is 57.53. I like that idea. To me, I want to see this NQ get to that overnight high. That's the ideal scenario. If it gets to that level, does it keep squeezing? I mean, it is Friday. Fridays tend to get a trend and they start to continue on, and like you start to see sellers disappear or buyers disappear depending on the direction. And this reversal happened 10:30. Once again, I mean, I mentioned it last week and the week before on Fridays. That 10:30 reversal seems to be a pretty key time of day on Friday, right? We trend in the morning and we reverse. You'll at least get a move out of it. Sometimes it's only this piece and then it pulls back and continues on, but at least you get that reprieve from the direction that you're going. So just note that for another Friday moving forward, that's another Friday to kind of confirm on that 10:30 reversal time. Maybe, it's obviously a little sooner, that general time period. If you're at a key structure level that you feel like maybe is going to act as good support, then maybe you need to look for that long idea or that short idea at that time on a Friday. So, or look for take profits at that point if you're in a position. If we can clear back above 20,017, I'm going to use VWAP as the stop for the entire position. Is that in the SPYs? Is that what you're using as your indicator? Gotcha. So I know you trade equities and ETFs and stuff like that. If you do want to start getting into futures, I mean, it's the same. They're the same instrument. SPY Qs are just ETFs that directly track the futures contracts. So technically, the real leading indicator to that ETF, the SPY, the Qs, is going to be the levels that are in the futures contracts. So the SPY is the S&Ps, the SES. It's not going to be like exact, obviously, but it's an ETF that tracks it, so it's going to be almost there. So I know a lot of people who trade SPY use the futures as an indicator. I know some people that use the ETFs as an indicator, which is weird because the ETFs is not technically the leader, right? If the ETF is using the future as the indicator or the tracking, then it's going to be difficult. Depending on the type of, I know SPY directly, I'm pretty sure is just a even weighted, but there's SPYI and then there's a couple other ones that do like equal weight tracking. So instead of being heavily weighted Mag 7, it's equal weight for every instrument in there. So it's slightly different than the actual SPY, which gives you a little bit more broad return. But those are more used for investment vehicles. S&P's just cracked through that wedge pattern, so I'm still going to hold this, allow it to go. And then now that I added that contract there at that pullback, I still now have the one that I took off. I added it, put it back on. So we're very happy with that move there. See if we can break back above. I am going to use VWAP as my stop now, so we should never come back below VWAP, which is now below 20,000, right? So hopefully we leave 20,000 behind and never see it ever again. Microsoft's still ticking up. Nvidia still holding below 116.63, but it's good. That's good. It's always, I mean, everybody's got their own way of doing it. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. My normal strategy isn't a longer term hold. I am doing this position idea for just the type of day and the trade that I had in hand. I have a bunch of them in my head. I've been doing this for a little bit. I've done everything from FX, equities, options into futures, and I just found my niche in futures here. But using some of those, theories from some of the other things that I've traded, I have a bunch of stuff in my head. So, I'll do this on a combine. I'll do this to kind of learn to add it to my playbook for my funded accounts when they are all there and ready to go. So far, today was more of a down day, but this is actually a very positive part and a good way to end the week and like a way to build that mental capital going through. I understand you feel silly not going long on this or in on this or practice, but you got to do everything that you feel like is good for you. Do what you think is good for you, right? I tell people all the time. I told it in the boot camp and stuff like that. I said, realistically, you're gonna watch a bunch of people. You're gonna pick up things here and there that you like, that you don't like, something that you do. Build your own strategy, and then if you want to, pass it on or make it. If you want to be just like a systematic, purely robotic trader that you can code out something like that, then you don't have to really worry about anybody else. Figure out something that could be coded, something that can be done that's not purely discretionary, something that uses the robots against each other, and then you can do it that way. But I have this coded, and I've coded it in my own way. This isn't this strategy, but the failed breaks and stuff. It's just difficult to get it to work perfectly in TradingView. So still working on it here and there as it comes. This is slowing down a bit, right? You can kind of tell that it's fizzling out right at this level. With this breaking out and this not following through on the breakout, I like the idea of holding it, but trailing it a bit tighter. $20,022 is my number too, so that's really where I really think that the break needs to happen, and it keeps getting there and stopping, getting there and stopping. We're up $300 on micros, so plus the 200 that I've already secured on this trade. Satisfying. Nvidia is giving it a little bit more of a push down. Microsoft pushing back up. So who's going to lead us right now? Seems like Microsoft's been leading the day. So any sort of bounce for Nvidia will help accelerate this with the help of Microsoft continuing to push up. Can we get back above this 22?
Order filled.
All right, so we took that one that we added on off. So we were at 17. Now we're at 15. The trades there secured 148, 145, and 93. So that's 300, $400 that we've taken off on this trade. That's the beautiful thing about. I mean, I could add on a pullback, take it off, add on it, take it off, and then just keep working that with that small position still held for the runner. I'll be right back, and then I'll shut this down at 12. Give me 2 minutes. There we go. We're still in this. Nice to know when you come back. It's still there. Have not ate yet today, so normally I'm eating something after I get off at 11. Actually, right back. So this average price doesn't really give you a good indication because as you start averaging in, it goes first in, first out, basic accounting software style, first in, first out. So that usually leads to your entry down here being the first thing that comes out, and then every ad cost averages you up. So as I've been adding and taking off, it just kind of just goes with that. So don't worry too much about the average cost there being all the way up at the overnight low. That's just the last ad average cost. Once this one comes off, the average cost is going to come up to 20,000 because that's where I added it. So I'm going to take that one off at the base of the opening range and then see where the runner goes. The real question would be, do you take it off here, that one contract, or do you let it, trail out with the whole thing, right? Trail out here. What makes you more money, realistically? The only way to make money is to actually secure profits. My thing is, if it's a wedge, it goes, right? So now I'm risking below VWAP. If I lose 13 bucks on it, I lose 13 bucks on it, but I've secured now another 130. So this trade so far has netted us, let's do the math for it, 130, 148, 145, 93. So we're up 517 with a runner on, right? So we had started this position with one micro, and then as it moved for us, we've secured more position, right? So I added one on here at 910. As we pulled back to 900, I added a second. When we started that momentum break, I added another, right? The other one came in 20,014. So I added through 20,000. I'm sorry, 19,908 was the second ad. The third ad was 940. 940. So I added it here on that pullback, and then we let that ride. We took off one here, then we re-added it again. We took off again here, re-added it again on the pullback there. So now we're set, right? We're gonna let this thing ride out at even and see where we go. Overall, this is where you start to see like that buyers just keep coming in and the sellers gave up a lot of times. We are retesting the opening range. So this is that 1 minute opening range. This would be a very interesting area for a reaction to occur. I'm just going to hold it and see how long it'll go. Maybe we'll get through the overnight highs. I am going to cut off stream. I'm going to go down and hang out with my youngest and the wife before I go to work. As many of you know, I do have a job that I have to go, so I will just leave this. I am a police officer, indeed. So I do that and I do this all morning. You know, I try to do my best of managing my whole world. I also run Day Trading Coffee Co. So if you are interested in coffee, daytradingcoffeeco.com. This is where I post my weekly analysis, so you can go over there and read that. I do it every week, every Sunday night. So this Sunday coming up, I will do it again. I'll have you guys ready to go for the week ahead. Just overall, if you need some coffee, use code PolicingPips. Get you 15% off always. For now, I'm going to be off. Enjoy the rest of your week. You know, whatever week is left here in your trading day, trade smart. I'm going to go and do whatever. I work over the weekend as well, so I'll be working. When I get off of work Sunday night, I'll post that up, the newest one, for the week ahead. So now that we've had the Fed rate cut, now it's just move forward and see where we go from here. So I appreciate the conversation, Seismic. Come by. We're here every day, 8:30 till 11 normally. Today we're here till noon. A long stream on a Friday. Not normal, but I'm cool with it, especially being able to capture a trade like this where we're really managing the position well, adding, shedding, all that fun stuff. VWAP's flattening out. We retested the opening range low. If I get stopped out on this, below this 20,017, I'm okay with that. This is probably where there may be some reaction, so I'm cool. Ups, downs, sideways. Yeah, every day that's what we do here. So if you ask anybody else in the chat that's here all the time, Abby, Ray, fucking Jofi, whoever comes in, you know, everybody comes around, surprise everybody. So, you know, come in, have the conversation. I do this every single day. No matter how well I'm trading, on or off, I'll give you my little insights into your journey and how I could possibly help other than just calling out trades, because that's just useless. I'm going to trade here. I'm going to give you my best analysis for the week or for the day or whatever, and then I'm going to come in and try and give you the, you know, the other stuff that people aren't trying to give you. You know, anybody could say, oh, this is a trend line, this is support resistance, this is that. You can trade this, you could trade that, you could use this indicator. You know, whatever works for you works for you. You know, everything. I want to build a well-rounded trader and human in this chat. So if you like it, share it up with everybody. Until Monday, I will see you guys all then. Talk to you later. Peace out.